Hello, BookTube. This is the fourth bookcase, the second shelf, part two. Let's see if I can do this without all the books falling on me. So it continues on with books about books. And in the last video, I mentioned Christopher DeHamel. This is his meeting with remarkable manuscripts. Absolutely gorgeous book. And that's exactly what it says. It's about remarkable manuscripts. It's Alan Lane, an imprint of Penguin Books, and this was, let's see, it was published in 2016. So these are meetings he's had with some of the world's greatest manuscripts. I did mention it on another video, I can't remember which one. One of my treasures, this book. Absolutely magnificent. So, Christopher DeHamel, Meetings with Remarkable Manuscripts. I'm not going to put it on there. Let's see. Next one here, not surprising that I'm a librarian, I would have this. This is The Library, an Illustrated History by Stuart AP Murray. Introduction by Donald G. Davis Jr. and forward by Nicholas Baines, who we saw in the previous video. So it's a history of, well-illustrated history of libraries throughout history, throughout time. Getting a little redundant there. But nice reference book. This one here, we also in the last video talked about Oak Knoll Press. This would be an example of one of their books. This one is Roger E. Stoddard's A Library Keeper's Business. And it's published in 2002. It's essays by Roger E. Stoddard, curator of rare books at the Harvard College Library. Selected and edited by Carol Z. Rothkopf. Prefaced by Stephen Weisman. Oak Knoll Press. So a specialized volume. Let me see here. Excuse me. All right. So he has the collection's broken up into sections. The librarian has students. The article is No Regrets in New England Boyhood Among Booksellers. The librarian is teacher, teaching the history of books at Harvard. The librarian is historian. The librarian is bibliographer. The librarian is a collector for others. And the librarian at the lectern, and the librarian after the rare book. And finally, the librarian is an author of bibliography. So, fun book. A little specialized. This one, Caldecott & Co. Notes on Books and Pictures by Maurice Sandeck. I just read this about a month ago, I think. I didn't know what I was going to get into with it. I ended up really enjoying it. Told me a lot about his creative process and the artist who influenced him. So let's see where it was published here. The Noonday Press, Michael D. Capuo Books for R. Strauss and Giroux. And it was 1988. Okay. Moving right along. Excuse me. That's Umberto Eco, How to Write a Thesis. Translation, obviously. MIT Press, Cambridge, Mass, London, England. Translated by Caterina Mongiat Farini and Jeff Farini. So, the definition and purpose of a thesis, choosing a topic, conducting research, the plan and the index cards, tells you it's pre-computer time. Writing the thesis and the final draft. I say it's pre-computer times and I laugh, but there's a lot of wisdom in this book. Not just for people who are writing a thesis, which I've done a couple times, and wish I'd had this book. But if you're a nonfiction writer, I would recommend strongly you get this book. This, even as something simple like index cards, it teaches you how to research, how to organize, how not to waste time in a lot of ways. So, while it may seem dated, there's a lot of good information in this book. This next book, Of Making Many Books, Roger Burlingame. There's a little story to how I got this one. And I love books about books, and I love books about publishers. Of Making Many Books, 100 Years of Reading, Writing, and Publishing by Roger Burlingame. 1946, New York, Charles Scribner's and Sons. Now, this was sitting in a library vestibule under their sale books, and I got it for $1. And I would have picked it up no matter what. I mean, as long as it was in good condition. But what it caught my eye was this: with the compliments of Charles Scribner's and Son, 1846, 1946, and then somebody in a ballpoint pen or had written Edward Lord and then Ed. So that's who the book went to, from the publisher. So when I got home, I started going through it, and I thought, well, I wonder who Edward Lord is. And if you go here in the index, Edward T. Lord, page 152 and forward. Above my hand there. So I went to 152. And all of a sudden, Mr. Lord, who this is sent to, I don't know if you can even see, he's got little notes. He went right to the pages that were about him and double checked that the information was correct, I'm sure. So a little bit of book history there. I looked him up. I guess he'd gone to Dartmouth, and then he was very important in I think children's books and all that stuff too. So of making many books, Roger Burlingame. Then just randomly stuck into that shelf because I don't have any place else to go. An Incomplete Education. A little bit of glare on that one, huh? Judy Jones and William Wilson. Let's see, 1987. And it's Ballantine Books, New York. So this covers American studies, art history, economics, films, literature, music, philosophy, political science, psychology, religion, science, world history, and it has a lexicon and index. So fun to look through. I haven't looked at it in years, to be honest with you. And a pile of smaller books here, again, because they fit into the shelf there and they're sort of related. David Crystal, a little book on language. Yale University Press, New Haven in London, 2010. This one's fun. The Man Who Made Lists, Love, Death, Madness, and the Creation of Roget's Thesaurus by Joshua Kendall. I mean, most of us have used Roget's over the years. It's a fun story. It's G.P. Putnam's and Son, 2008. So I learned a lot about Mr. Roget and what an odd fellow he was in Joshua Kendall's book here. So, good book. And let's see here. This one, Phantoms on the Bookshelves, with an introduction by James Salter, Jacques Bonnet. I don't know if you get a picture of his. It's the Overlook Press, New York, New York. Translated from the French by Sean Reynolds. What year are we at? 2008. Our personal libraries reveal our true nature. Far more than just places, they are the living labyrinths of our innermost feelings. Jacques Bonnet, a lifelong accumulator of books both ancient and modern, lives in a house large enough to accommodate as many thousands of books, as well as overspill from the libraries of his friends. While his musings on the habits of collectors past and present are learned, witty, and instructive, his advice on cataloging may even save the lives whose books are so prodigiously piled as to be a hazard to one's health. That's pretty funny. Good book. Short. Then one of my favorites, Chuck Zerby's The Devil's Details, A History of Footnotes. I love footnotes. Some are done well, some are done poorly, but they can be an adventure. So, Invisible Cities Press, Montpelier, Vermont, 2002. And of course it has footnotes throughout, as would make sense. Fun little book. And then to finish up that shelf, Jeffrey O'Brien, The Browser's Ecstasy, A Meditation on Reading. And Counterpoint, Washington, D.C., 2000. And it's just what it says. It's a meditation on reading. I don't know if that... Yeah. So, under the contents, it has a reunion of old acquaintances, the demon, a mysterious disappearance, a night journey, the warehouse, land without seasons, lumber room, legacy from space, prisoners, key to all keys, the book of knowledge, family romance, miniatures, the book that read itself, the browser's ecstasy. I'm not going to read them all, but it's meditations on reading. So, Jeffrey O'Brien. So that wraps up a quick tour of the second shelf of the fourth bookcase, part 2, which was books on books, some on thesaurus, a little education type stuff, footnotes, meditations on reading. So thank you, BookTube.